I'll ask Steve McKinney that here. Steve, when teams early on in the season, they'll show X, Y, and Z, but you can show that exact same thing and just kind of disguise the way you do it as the game goes on.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think you can definitely run your base plays that you want to run out of different formations, different motions, and things like that. And I definitely noticed between the Florida game and the Bowling Green game that the motion and the what's the word? I don't know. Intricacy of the play was a lot more vanilla.
Yes.
Against Bowling Green. Against Florida, you saw a lot more motions. You saw a lot more misdirections, eye candy. So they definitely toned it down a little bit for Bowling Green. I don't know if that was intentional or if that was just to not show more than they had to, which almost cost them a little bit because the game got a little closer than.
I always wonder about that. Like if you do, we always act like, well, they're playing this game, and then you get into the second half and you get a punt blocked and you're in a dogfight. It's like, then is it too late to
switch gears,
revert, open it up? It would seem like it, and then so.
Yeah.
I always wonder how much they actually.
But once those plays are, once they've learned it, they've installed them. They're there, right? You can adjust during a game.
You can, but here's the thing, especially with college kids, these aren't professional athletes. They don't do this.
You have to practice the plays.
Yeah, they don't do this 8 hours a day, 5 days a week. You get them for a couple hours, 2 or 3 hours a day. So, yeah, going into the week of practice, like you have your install day. You install the plays you're going to run that week. You always have the playbook, the whole playbook, but do you really want to start calling plays that you hadn't worked on since the week before? It's kind of a little risky this early in the season. Can be done, but think about the motions and stuff that they were running against Florida.
Yeah.
Those are things you probably need to practice. Timing.
That's a good point.
What were you laughing at?
What do you mean?
I saw the look.
I was not laughing.
Saw the look. What was the look?
Just that look of.
This is how I get pigeonholed.
We know the look. This is what you do. Watch. His eyes do this. Up, down, up.
He's saying everything with his eyes.
Yeah.
And literally nothing.
Look at you guys
I purposely did that.
Okay.
There's honestly no reason to that.
It's all to make you feel insecure.
Yeah.
And you start thinking too much.
As a very secure man, I get very insecure around Billy. That's a fact.
Well, you know what? I'm insecure around everyone. Look, all of you are making me very insecure right now.
I've never spoken poorly of you.
Oh, I mean, I've never spoken poorly of
No,
you.
sorry, of your gear.
Oh.
I've never done the look like, I can't believe he's wearing that hat. I like that hat, though.
This is a decent hat. It's not the best fitting hat that I've got, but.
How about the way I wear my duck camp
I know
hat?
what brand that is.
Yeah, that's
Straight
bad.
Bill Nuno, Straight Bill Nuno?
I don't mind the straight. Well, I do mind the straight bill at 50.
You're not a straight bill. You don't strike me as a straight bill guy.
You gotta be
On the
a
duck
straight
camp
bill.
with the short, yeah, I think so.
Some people can pull that look off, Nuno.
You think I'm a real bend?
I think you're a bender.
I wear that.
I wear it
little-
backwards a lot,
I wear
though.
that little
I'm a backwards
homebred
guy.
hat, and it's. I got it because it's my buddy's brand, and just I got a black one just to kind of support him. But then they came. He went to South Carolina, so I'm assuming that's why, because they were involved with like the Chiefs and that my Kansas City crew. They were doing like red and white. And then all of a sudden it was like that color maroon because he's South Carolina. I said, that's close enough to maroon, so I bought a couple of them. It's a straight biller. It's meant to be a straight biller. It's a little short on top, but then I just can't do a straight bill without, I look like a clown. So I fold it a little bit.
You got to, man. You're over 50 now. It's too late for that.
Steve,
I'm not over 50, just
not?
so we're clear. No,
just at 50.
I'm not over 50. Go ahead.
Steve, state of the team after seeing 4 games, right? And what's ahead? Is everything still there in your opinion of trending in the direction that you expected?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I think 3-1, very close to being 4-0. Probably should be 4-0, but you're seeing the team kind of starting to progress. You're seeing the offensive line. They've shown flashes. I wouldn't say they took a step back against Bowling Green. I would have liked to see them play a little bit better, but Bowling Green wasn't a bad football team. Those guys, they have some veteran guys up front. They played hard. They didn't stay blocked. They were really good about getting off blocks. We never really kind of got them on their heels the whole game. So And, maybe that was partly due to play calling or what, but, you saw what they were capable of doing that first drive.
Yep.
They went right down the field.
But that first drive wasn't easy.
No.
There was like a 3rd and 8 pass. There was a 4th down that they completed to Bussey.
Absolutely.
That touchdown throw and catch was a high degree.
Yes.
I'm with you, but I felt like after that drive, I said, I hope they don't think this is going to be easy because that was not an easy.
They made it look easy, but
Yeah.
you're right, it was not easy, and it kind of, I think, maybe lulled the fans and maybe even some of the team into thinking like, oh, okay, we're going to roll these guys. And Bowling Green's like, hey, unless you can, convert 4th down continuously and make catches over the top of people's heads and pull them in for touchdowns, it's not going to be that easy.
Yeah.
And obviously it wasn't. So I think the things that we're lacking right now that are, what did we say last week? Not concerned. Can I be concerned?
Yeah, you were
paying
saying
attention to?
concerned.
I would just say I'm concerned a little bit in our passing game as far as, are we going to be able to throw the ball, keep pace, and score points if we get into one of those type of games where we need to score over 30, 35, even 40 points to win? Can we do that? That's the only thing I'm a little concerned about right now. I love Marcel. I think he's a very dynamic quarterback. He gives us a lot of options in the run game. And he throws the ball fine, but I haven't, his accuracy was a little questionable Saturday. Yeah. So that's the only concern I have. We see that cleaning up, man, he could be really tough.
Look, we catch undue, and it's just a small minority, but then it's also, there's a whole subset that tries to push this agenda. If you go look at what we talked about this football team, it kicked the ass of anyone else covering this team. It's not even close in terms of intel of what this team was about. All the way to Marcel, which my thing was, Connor won that job not exclusively, but a big part of that was, part of it was experience, and part of it was as a passer, like to make the throws in the offense down the field. That doesn't mean Marcel can't do it. We've seen him do it. It's just, as a young guy, that he's still inconsistent in terms of accuracy down the field. And I tried to say that after that bowl game when everyone's going crazy, and it's like, look, he's not always going to be accurate even on the gimme stuff, certainly in the windows, but he can 100% do it. Like, don't let this dude get hot throwing the ball.
Right.
Don't let him get confident. And we might be on the verge of seeing that. Like, it's going to be, the whole point was it's going to be a process. Well, you can't afford to go through that process in season unless you have to. You don't voluntarily go, we're going to let this guy learn as he goes. That's what happens when you have to do it. Well, we're letting him learn as he goes because that's the situation that happened. There are some fools out there that think Connor was benched and this is some, made up injury. You think a team is going to bench a quarterback after one bad game? That's not to say that he was a Heisman contender and all, but he had shown plenty and won the job. Sure. It was literally an injury after a bad game. So all everyone's clinging to is the bad game.
Right.
But they're playing Marcel, and he'll sit here and tell you this. They're playing him because they had to. Now, he can keep playing better and better and never give up the job. And I think there's a real chance that he could do that the longer Connor's out, because I do think every week you see him, he's going to get the talent and the mindset, and that's what I love about Marcel. But the mindset and the dual threat talent, he just needs to work as a passer and what he's seeing and the accuracy, and it's going to come.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more.
But we're going through growing pains.
A new quarterback. Let's not act like he's looked bad.
No,
he's looked really good, but he's shown some signs of, could we be if we were in a tight game and needed to get the ball down the field in a 2-minute drive, could he do that? We don't really know yet. Haven't seen it. But we've seen that, he's inaccurate at times. But we're also, just like Liucci said, man, he's playing every week. He's getting better. The more he gets comfortable in that offense and with his receivers and the timing, if I'm Connor, I'm saying, dude, I got to get back on the field. Yeah. Like, I don't need this guy playing anymore because he could become that guy in one game.
My favorite thing about him, and I said it this week, so the quick version is fourth quarter, yeah, he's going to miss a throw here or there, but he was so poised and so calm. And if he had to take off and get 8 on second and second and 11, and he runs for 8, like everything he did in the fourth quarter of that game, really the second half, because they answered. He was just calm when one mistake would have been catastrophic.
Right.
And he was just calm, cool, didn't look like a freshman. So that's my favorite part of Marcel Reed right now. And I think the down the field attacking will come.
It doesn't make me nervous going into any big game with him at quarterback.
Yeah.
He's just a different type of quarterback than Connor is, right? So we just have to have a different game plan. Like if Marcel's your guy, your offensive line, Le'Veon Moss, Daniels, like we got to run the ball. We got to be getting the 3-4 yards. We can't have negative yardage plays. It can't be 2nd and 10, 3rd and 8. Like we need those third and shorts, and we're gonna move the ball all day long.
So if Marcel plays really well this weekend, and Connor's ready to go next week, you won 3 straight games with Marcel. That's a tough decision for any coaching staff with your starting quarterback who is coming back from injury, healthy against probably a top 10 team.
Well, I think it puts Connor and your coaching staff in a tough position. Mm-hmm. Because if you throw Connor out there and he's not 100% and he doesn't look great, then what do? Do you have to pull him in the middle of a game? Because if you do that'll ruin you.
Yep.
It could ruin him, for the whole season. So you don't stick him in there until you're confident that he's 100% and he's 100% confident in throwing the ball.
Yeah.
Right? That's what I'm thinking.
I think if you win this weekend, unless it's a 13-10 type of game, if you win this weekend and the offense looks solid even.
Florida good.
I thought it was pretty damn good. I think against Florida, they scored 26 points offensively. I think against Florida, that offense would have looked really, really good. I think they were dialed in. Yeah. They were out scheming the crap out of them. I think they would have scored 40. Yeah. If it wasn't raining throughout the second quarter, the delay, and they really shut it down in the second half throwing the football. There was very little of that. Yeah. That to me is like, that was going to be an elite offensive performance.
No doubt.
I think if you just had a normal one, let's say they score 27 points and win the football game, I don't think you change anything. But if Connor's ready, you're trying to, that Missouri game becomes exponentially more important. And if you're in a game but your offense is struggling and 10 struggling, then you could put him in there. So it is going to be interesting when he gets back, but I don't suspect that'll be this weekend, but it could. Yep. I mean, people that are wondering about, well, Connor's on, he did, people, we got too many people that want to report that he's not practicing during the week. And I don't know, people that are watching or listening, if you want that for me, it's not what I do. From the standpoint, I always say, people think it's our job to help. It's not our job. It's not our job. I know people don't believe that. That is not our job. That's not what we're here to do. If it works out and having all this at their fingertips is helpful to them, that's great, but that's not our job. But it's damn sure not our job to hurt. Yeah. And so when it comes to a quarterback situation and other teams are doing the same thing, you can find that crap out elsewhere. I'm not going to say who's practicing and who's not during the week at that position in specific. Mike Elko can say that. And what people don't understand, and Steve, you get this, a lot of guys, if they've played enough, if they're not practicing, it's almost like with this injury, he could play Saturday and not have practiced all week and just stood there and watched and observed and then thrown on a little more each day and then be ready to go Saturday. It's not optimal. No. And I think when you combine it to where it's 3 weeks now, I think before he plays, he's going to have a week of practice. But a normal injury thing, like Steve McKinney, as a senior here, as a 7th-year NFL guy, how much practice did you really need, if you had an injury on a Sunday and then you're going to play the next week?
I mean, for me to play my best, I want to practice.
No, not your best, but like
could
to
I go in
play.
there and play? Yeah, I could miss a week of practice. I could still go and play. I may look a little rusty. I'm not going to look my best, but I'm not going to look bad either.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, the more veteran you are, the less practice you physically have to have. But
My point is,
Still
these
need it,
guys
though.
missing practice Monday,
need it.
Tuesday, it's a thing. It's not meaningless, but it doesn't mean everything.
Doesn't mean everything.
Yeah.
Steve, when you look at Arkansas, what concerns you about their offense? And Taylor Green, who's had a nice year, he beats you one way. Like, he's not going to beat you with his arm. So just is that the bottom line when it comes to them? Is it Jaquindon Jackson? Is it maybe veterans on their defensive line? When you look at Arkansas, what maybe jumps out?
Well, I think you look at going into this game, it's strength on strength, right? It's our ability to stop the run is a strength. Them running the football is their strength. So what would concern me probably is not him running the football, because we know he's going to try to run it. And I think we'll do probably a fairly good job of shutting that down. I mean, if you look at Elko's history against Arkansas when he was the defensive coordinator, what's his name?
KJ Jefferson.
Yeah, I mean, he was that guy. Now, he could throw the ball fairly well, too, but he was the runner, and we used to shut him down. He used to not run hardly anything against us. But then he might hit us for a long bomb or something like that. So as long as we can prevent the big play in the pass game, I don't think they can beat us just running the football. I think we can shut them down enough to outscore them that way. We just got to eliminate big plays, especially in the passing game.
I'll worry about the perimeter running game for Arkansas. I think this D-line should win the battle against this. They have to. To win the game, the A&M D-line, Shamar Stewart was in here, Nick Scorton was in here last week, and those guys, they're the ones that are like, we're playing good. We should be playing, and in their mind, like their standards higher than what they've been doing as individuals and collectively. I think they've had a strong start to the year. Strong, but we were looking for spectacular. And that's the best position on the field, so it needs to be. And it needs to start Saturday because the Arkansas O-line is not that good. Neither was the Notre Dame O-line. And they didn't. They won that battle clearly. They didn't take over the game. No. And I think they need to take over the game on Saturday because you can't give Taylor Green time. You can't let him get in a comfort zone. You've got to make it where Bobby Petrino feels like he's got to get the ball out of his hands really quickly, and you got to make him live in down and distant situations. And the key to all of that is stopping both him and Jaquindon Jackson as runners. And the way you do that is you dominate the line of scrimmage. But I am concerned about perimeter, them getting the edge. And that's what I need to see A&M do a better job of defending this weekend. And they have big play receivers. Armstrong's really good. Satania is, he's a home run threat over the top. And that's what he can do, is just chuck it up. Yeah. If guys get back, you run, like you just said, chuck it up. He can do that, and both those guys can kill you in that regard. So,
and their tight end, who does not have a lot of catches, Luke
but
Haas,
he's
really good.
He's exceptional. So their offense is a concern, but look, I throw out Arkansas Pine Bluff, and I'm looking at their schedule. Oklahoma State was a tale of two halves. They looked spectacular for a half. They looked terrible for a half. UAB, they pulled away to score 37. That was 17-3 for a period of that game to UAB. In Auburn, they won 24-14. I'm not sure if it was the fourth quarter or late third, but that game was 7-7. And I think A&M has to force turnovers tomorrow. I think they have to get after it. When the Aggies have the ball, my primary concern is going to be Landon Jackson. He's going to be, I don't know where he'll get drafted. There's some testing things that I don't think he'll do, but he is a big 6'7", dude. Easy. Big dude that gets after the quarterback. Mm-hmm. He's really progressed. LSU fans weren't really upset about him leaving and transferring to Arkansas a couple of years ago, and he's just gotten better and better.
They just gave up on him.
They did. They did. They gave up on him, and he's turned it. Kind of like A&M did with my man Tyree Johnson. Yeah. Tyree ended up going to Tech. Nobody really cared. Oh, look, we got all these D
You guys
linemen.
take time to develop, man.
He's really developing, kind of like LT Overton's doing right now at Bama. Sometimes it's about the fit. Landon Jackson has found the fit. Maybe he wouldn't have gotten as much playing time in a better program a couple of years ago, but he's really good, and they've done a nice job in the portal on defense too. So the defense of Arkansas is what's going to be pretty interesting. They've done a good job against the run so far, against two really good running backs at Auburn and Oak State. But I think this will be a different animal.
But Hunter only rushed the ball 12 times.
Yeah, that's for like 75 yards.
I mean, to me, this feels like one of these games where our strength's running the ball, their strength's running the ball, our strength's defensive stopping the run, so is theirs. The difference is going to come down to which passing game,
Which quarterback?
and which quarterback can get the most, advantage in the air. I mean, if we can get some explosive plays in the passing game, that's going to be the difference in the game when it comes down to
And
it.
I think our offensive line is playing at a higher level than theirs is. And I think our defensive line should be playing at a higher level than theirs. And something I brought up in the first segment, we got to hit a break here, but Nick Scorton, I looked at his stats from last year. He didn't start getting his sacks until really the end of the season. He had 5 sacks in the last 3 games of the year. He ended up with 10. But at this point in last year, I think he had 2 sacks, and then after this game, he would have 3. So he's not that far off, I guess is my point, if you're looking for a year-to-year comparison.
And I'm more worried this week about these guys stuffing the run. The pressure on the quarterback will come, whether they get sacks or – now this one, you do not need him to get loose and rip off 15, 20 yards a run.
This is not the kind of game where they're going to just turn them loose.
No.
Like they're going to say, what do they call it, a mush rush, keep them in the pocket type game.
That's what it's funny because I was asking Shamar Stewart that, and he acted like he didn't think they would necessarily do that. I think they will to some degree.
They better be disciplined with their outside edges. They better keep contained.
Yep.
Yeah.
Let's go to the Angry Elephant News and Social Center. McKinley Polanski, got a couple of texts for the crew?
I do. From Ryan, he said, for Steve, I'm curious if he has an issue with our new strength coach forcing guys to go full range of motion on lifts such as bench press. He said it's from Concerned Gold's Gym Goer.
I think we know where that came from.
Yeah, I know it's Ryan, that is. Yeah, right. No, I have no concern of that.
It's funny. This is what's so amazing about Bronny. And I got a great picture today of these two Ooh, that's not the picture. Hold on. Uh-oh. Great picture of these two yahoos today, Nuno. This is what I was subjected to.
Come on.
Look at that great form from Steve, though.
That's right, dude.
There you go.
That's full range of motion right there.
So, there it is. So, what if that went back to that other picture? Okay, so here's the deal. Now people are wondering what that. Bronny comes up to me and is criticizing Steve doing reps on bench press and like 225. This guy's like almost 60. He's almost 50 and he's doing 225 by reps. How many did you do today?
Like 23.
23. And he's like at the combine, none of those would have been counted as reps. This is the guy that's critiquing to the actual dude that's actually probably the only person that's been in that gym in the last month or however long that has actually participated in said combine.
That's right.
But leave it to Bronny to critique the form. Or you.
Wait. When's the last time you saw me critique form?
I don't see you in there anymore.
Well, I don't work out anymore. I'm completely against it. I only help you because you sometimes don't do full reps. That's it. I know Steve does full reps.
Yeah. At some point you hit an age where doing full range of motion's not great for the joints. You gotta know your limits, guys.
Thank you, Steve.
Freak of the week time, ladies and gentlemen.
He acts like you're sitting there going like, oh, this is a curl. Like, go ahead. You're the freak of the week.
Well, that's a good thing. Usually that means something good is going to happen. So I'm going to have a great post-game rap. Steve, freak of the week. Do we sing it without you, brother?
It's the freak of the week.
Thank you very much.
I didn't want to chime in. I feel like I shouldn't.
You're not welcome.
I'm not allowed to.
You're not allowed to participate in that. So I hate to pull a Walrus, but since he's not here, I'm going to pick the offensive line as my freak of the week because
We're going to mash.
we are going to mash,
Be a little mash up.
I think we get back to the offensive line we saw against Florida. Okay. I think, to me, the difference between Florida and the Bowling Green game was not effort. It wasn't technique. It was just attitude. There was a little different attitude in that Florida game than what we saw at Bowling Green.
You want to see somebody smashing a chair before the game?
I think we'll get back to that this week. I think we'll see a little bit more energy, and I think you'll see the offensive line, the running backs kind of feeding off each other. Get that run game going.
For me, if I'm going to freak of the week, I've been leaning on in the backfield a little bit. I feel like I've picked Le'Veon a couple times. I feel like I've picked Marcel. I'm gonna go with what I need the freak of the week to be. What I need it, and I think in this stadium, in the course of this series, A&M has gotten big games from wide receivers. Last year it was Anais Smith. Josh Reynolds tormented Arkansas. Christian Kirk tormented Arkansas. It's Edward Pope on a deep ball to change the game. It's always somebody in that game seems to get it done at the receiver spot. I'm going to go Noah Thomas as my freak of the week. The first big game by an A&M receiver this year. I know Cyrus Allen had a big day at Florida. That was more of a big catch. This is the first big game by an A&M receiver. I'm going to go Noah on offense, and then defensively, I think this is. I'm going Nick Scorton. I think this is a Nick Scorton game. I think this is that game where he breaks out on the big stage.
I love it. I love it. Let's do the Sleeper of the Week presented by the Sleep Station. Go see Jared McLeod and ask about the Tempur-Pedic mattress or the Purple mattress in the Specs parking lot at Texas and Harvey in front of the Lowe's at William D. Fitch and Highway 6. The website, thesleepstation.com. Steve, who is your sleeper?
I'm going with the same guy I picked last week, Jabri Barbers.
Okay.
Did I get the name right?
Jabri Barber.
Yeah, Jabri. Yep.
Okay, close. Jabri Barber. I think that he continues to impress me with his separation. I know he's one of these guys that's just, it's right there to having that breakout game or just that really big play for the team because, you look at him even against Bowling Green, I mean, he's got 5 yards of separation between him and the guy covering him because he's just that quick and shifty. So I expect him to hopefully have a big game. I mean, I wish Marcel would target him a little more personally.
Yeah.
But just me.
Billy?
My sleeper of the week, I'm going to go with two again, as I like and want to do. I'm going to go Dalton Brooks on defense.
Okay.
I think he might put someone to sleep with a hit. Hopefully
Not with his helmet.
not with his helmet. And then I think a big interception for 25 at that safety spot.
Okay.
Kalen Green throws one up. Dalton Brooks makes a really athletic play, comes away with a big pick. And then Amari Daniels is my sleeper on offense. I think Amari, man, I'm kind of torn. Everybody's talking about the big Swede, and for good reason, Theo. I'm kind of torn on a Trey Watson breakout game.
I like how you did that.
I'm just thinking,
several guys getting credit.
I'm going to go. I'm actually going to go Amari though. I think Le'Veon doesn't qualify as a sleeper. I think they'll have a good day running the football. And I think Amari Daniels will have one of those games like he had at Florida. How about all three hovercrafts came in here? The only one that wasn't in here was Katie, but it was Luke, Matthew, and Zane. Did you see how they just hovered like?
Miranda
like I
wasn't
said,
here.
it's like she's another one. It's like The Walking Dead. It's like you have like. I'm gonna start calling them like the.
I was on hovercraft yesterday. I called you 9 times.
No, that's not. But it's the hover without saying anything. That door opens up, and they just start. They're coming in.
They look like they have something important to say.
They do, but they don't understand
they
that
don't
I
say
can't
anything.
escape. I can't get out. There's no other exit. You guys are right on the other side of that door. This is like I'm gonna start calling this the panic room.
Pick 6 presented by Prize Picks with the final countdown.
Nuno. Transitioner. Can I tell you something?
I got an answer for you.
Here's where I'm at going into game 5 of this season.
Yep.
Record-wise, games they've won, how games have transpired, I'm pretty much exactly where I thought I'd be with this team, save that quarterback position has been way off. I'm exactly where I'm at, though, with the games, in that I thought the only difference is if you'd have said defensive struggle, A&M Notre Dame tied I know they kicked the field goal or scored the touchdown with under 2 minutes left, but basically tied, 5 minutes left in the game, fourth quarter.
Mm-hmm.
I would have picked A&M to win that game at home.
Yeah.
That's the only difference in the way things have gone. Maybe a little tougher against Bowling Green, but I thought that would be a tougher than people expect game. I didn't think they'd win by maybe, win at Florida, but not go the way. But the record, the way it is, the only difference is I thought they would win those closing moments at home against Notre Dame.
Same.
And that's it.
And maybe losing to Florida on the road?
I thought they'd beat Florida on the road. It was scary. It was a game that all offseason I was concerned about because of all the reasons we talked about. But I'm saying I would not have argued at all with you at 4-0. I would have said, yeah, they're going to win Notre Dame in the fourth quarter.
Yeah.
And that's the only difference to me. Now, the key, this is where it gets real wild to me. Like, Arkansas has always been a scary game on that schedule, and I think they look better than I thought they would.
Yeah.
I don't think they're world beaters. Don't get me wrong. I think they look better than I thought they would. So it is a real concern this weekend. And I don't think Missouri looks as good as I thought they did. So, like, these next two games are the ones that can throw me personally off of what I thought we'd be looking at going into the bye. Then those two can swing it kind of volatile. It's pretty volatile one way or the other.
Do we have
I
a
think,
bye
starting tomorrow.
before or after Missouri?
After.
After, okay.
And then you go on the road to Mississippi State. You come home to LSU. There's a real opportunity here in year one for Mike Elko. None of those teams are that good. 3 of those 4 can certainly beat you.
Yep.
So it's going to be interesting.
We could easily be sitting 6-1 in the bye.
You could,
Or 5-1.
or you could be sitting here coming home after a really tough loss.
If we're
to Arkansas.
6-1 after Mississippi State, where are we ranked?
Oh, you'd probably be.
Are we putting ourselves back in the
You'd be in
playoffs?
like the
13.
Well, at that time, you'd be a real contender.
Yeah.
I mean, that LSU game would loom large, but no, I think Arkansas is. I think this could be the turning point. Mm-hmm. I disagreed kind of with what you and OB were saying the other day. I thought maybe it was you actually. I don't remember who, but
Probably me.
I'm going to do a Billy Gillespie comment here where he goes, I couldn't disagree with you more. People say, people like to say, I couldn't agree with you more. He always used to like to say, I couldn't disagree with you more. I'm like,
Thanks, Billy.
short thing to say that, but I'm adopting it here.
What did I say?
Well, you were basically on with somebody and playing into the outside narrative, letting them manipulate you. And you said, or maybe it was the message boards, if they lose to Arkansas, it's hard to find another win on the something like that.
That wasn't me.
You said it's going to be really hard. Who knows? It was like end of the world. I think Arkansas in a bubble is the same game as freaking Missouri, LSU, Auburn on the road. Like all these games are winnable, losable.
Yeah.
I know. Like I think Missouri's a little better, LSU's a little bit, but Arkansas could certainly beat either of those two teams. They just beat Auburn. I think all these games are quite literally South Carolina. You could win, you could lose. And if Arkansas played that exact schedule, they could win, they could lose. So I don't think it's at the end of any kind of world for the season if you lose to these guys. But I think you can really take a giant step forward.
That's what I meant.
By beating an unranked. My point is this. They're not world beaters. This is not some colossal Herculean. This is not, can you go on the road and beat Georgia? This is, if you can beat a team that you are at least as, people are going to say, what? They've got some talent. Like there are positions where I think they have better players, and they did it via the portal. Not many. You should have the better team. You should have the better roster. Mm-hmm. You should go in there and win, but it's not going to be an easy game. And if they can get by it, I think it sets you up for like what Steve was saying. You could see a really swing in the pendulum of momentum.
My thought was, Billy, just so I can address that, if you win this game, because you called me out, if you win this game, all the things that I've been talking about, beating the teams that you should,
Whoa,
on the
like,
table.
Again,
And I think they should beat Arkansas.
I do too, but it is not the end of the world if they do not. I think they could lose to Arkansas and win 5 in a row going into Texas. You know, it's not. We won't know until the end, but I think it would be a really bad, you know, turn if they don't win because of what you're potentially giving up. Like they could lose to Arkansas, beat Missouri, Mississippi State, LSU, and Auburn, and maybe South Carolina.
Nuno, we once lost to Arkansas, and then the very next week beat #1 Alabama.
We did.
2 weeks later.
2 weeks
You lost to
later.
Arkansas.
And then you beat
Mississippi State.
Missouri
Mississippi
and didn't win a
State.
road game again for 3 years.
Yeah.
That's exactly how it played out. Hey,
So
let's,
who knows?
Yeah, so
sorry for making everybody sad.
this thing about you should beat who you're supposed to beat, I don't think A&M, and I think they should win Saturday, but like this whole thing, like we're supposed to go beat. Yeah, you recruit better than South Carolina. Supposed to go win at South Carolina on a year when they're up. It's not. Yes, I want A&M to be in a spot where you're supposed to do that. But year one, new coach, new system on both sides of the ball.
New quarterbacks.
Not all his players. Team's got took a losing mentality into the offseason. 500 over 2 years. A&M is not above these teams and programs right now. They're just not. They should be. And I totally agree if you say they should be for everything sunk in and all the money. Again, it had gotten to a point that you let Jimbo go and paid him $75 million to go. That's where it had gotten in terms of like kind of where they thought the state of the program was. So that's what Mike Elko's trying to fix. So when I look at an Arkansas, I say, yeah, A&M should beat them. No one around the country is going to be shocked if Arkansas won. No one around the country would be shocked if South Carolina beat A&M at home. Just like no one would be shocked if A&M wins Saturday. No one will be shocked if A&M beat Missouri and LSU at home. But they're all, I said it all offseason, there's a bunch of teams in the pack. Who's going to start to step out of the pack? Mm-hmm. Tennessee certainly has done that. Okay, but they're also in year 4 under Josh Heupel. Year 1 under Josh Heupel, they were like 6-6 or 7-6. Somebody's got to step out of the pack. If A&M wins Saturday, I believe that's going to be Texas A&M. Another one is, LSU is a prime candidate there. Who's going to step out of the pack? I think for the Aggies to step out of the pack, they have to win tomorrow.
I agree.
Pick 6 time. Let's go to the Angry Elephant News and Social Center. We are now exclusively on YouTube and TexAgs.com. McKinley, you want to give us the games?
Yes. Number 20, Oklahoma State, is traveling to number 23, Kansas State. They're playing at Bill Snyder Family Stadium. It will be on ESPN at 11 a.m., and Kansas State is favored by 5.5 points.
By the way, Billy and Seth are leading the league at 15-9 for the record. So
Yeah.
just a little programming update, scheduling update.
All right, let's go.
She ready to
Go
run the
ahead,
game.
Steve.
Hold on, I was looking at what Seth picked.
Can you read that again? Just read the teams and the spread.
Oklahoma State and Kansas State. Kansas State's favored by 5.5 points.
At Kansas State, Oklahoma
Kansas
State.
I'm going K-State to bounce back. They got humiliated last week at BYU in a night game.
Lamalia laid.
They got Lamalia.
Seth picked Kansas State too.
And I think K-State at home. I
know what?
don't like what I've seen from Oak State so far.
I don't like what I've seen either, but I'm going to go with Oak State.
Okay.
Just to cover.
Yeah.
Maybe they lose by 3.
Field goal, yeah.
Polanski.
Number 21, Oklahoma, is traveling to Pat Dye Field at Jordan-Hare Stadium to take on Auburn at 2:30 p.m. It will be on ABC, and Oklahoma is favored by 2.5 points.
Somebody's going to be really upset out of those two fan bases on, say, Hugh Freeze or Brent Venables are in trouble after Saturday. Yeah. I don't think Venable, I don't think either one has job security issues. But, man, they both sounded like losers after this week. Their comments to the media, I thought Venables was throwing his offensive coordinator under the bus. Hugh Freeze threw everybody under the bus except himself. These dudes sound like guys that it's getting away from them. They need to win, both of them, in the worst way. I don't think either would be fired this year unless Hugh Freeze just really – you never know what he's going to do. But – what's that spread? Oklahoma by how much?
2.5.
Oklahoma by 2.5, yeah.
I'm actually going to go it's hard for me to pick OU to cover on their first road and win on their first road SEC game, but I'm going to because I think that Auburn offense is pretty bad.
Who's at quarterback for them?
They just keep rotating. It's the
don't even know yet?
freshman. No, for OU, yeah. It's 2 young quarterbacks. So I think this is going to be an ugly, low-scoring game. I like OU to win it. I'm going to pick 2.5. I'm going to pick OU to win and cover, and I think it's going to be their swan song. They're going to think things are right, but they're not.
Polanski?
Hold on,
Steve,
Oh, sorry, my fault.
I mean, am I even here?
Yeah, I think you are.
Let me go with Auburn
okay.
because I'm gonna try to separate myself from you guys a little this
See
week.
what you're doing.
I'm doing the Billy Liucci. Remember last year? you
Yeah,
did
I
that?
was so far behind last year. I was getting ridiculed about it.
Yeah, and then you just dug a deeper hole for yourself, like I'm probably doing. But
I don't know. Auburn could definitely cover.
Way
I just
things
don't know
have been going.
where they're scoring points from. I just don't.
Number 15, Louisville is traveling to number 16, Notre Dame. They're playing at 2:30 p.m. at Notre Dame Stadium. It will be on Peacock, and Notre Dame is favored by 6.5 points.
this one's intriguing because Notre Dame,
I just tell you right now,
Yeah,
you're
nothing
going to give me that many points. I'm going Louisville to cover.
Yeah.
Notre Dame to win a close game.
That's exactly what
Louisville
I
to
said.
cover.
I'm right there with you, dude. Give me Louisville.
I've seen that offense, and they covered against A&M, but that all came real late because they're both sitting on 13 points
Yeah.
with about 5 to go, and same thing when they played Northern Illinois. So.
Number 19, Illinois is traveling to number 9, Penn State. They're playing at Beaver Stadium at 6:30 p.m. on NBC. Penn State is favored by 17.5 points.
Huge.
That is a big
The
number. man.
whiteout, though, my man James Franklin, whiteout, Illinois. I'm going Illinois to cover.
Okay.
Penn State to win.
All right, same. Illinois. Dude, are me and you? No, we've picked a
we
couple
picked
different.
All right. We'll continue. This has been an awkward transitions.
That's
After you,
on you.
after you called me the transitioner, I'm not transitioning.
Yeah, you gave up on
I got
the
text
transition.
messages from people I didn't know you were transitioning. I'm like, I'm not.
You're like, I'm out. I'm on
I'm just not gonna,
Transitioner.
I just do the
I
eye
love
contact
it.
now. I give McKinley the look. I don't want to transition. Stay in a man. Sorry.
Number 2, Georgia is traveling to number 4, Alabama, which it's Bama's last time being an underdog at home was in 2007. They're playing at Bryant-Denny Stadium at 6:30 p.m. on ABC. Georgia is favored by 2.5 points.
Gosh, this one's so tough to me. It's Bama at home. We don't know a lot about Bama. They kicked the crap out of a bad Wisconsin team. They were in a dogfight with South Florida, but they were also in a dogfight with them last year. That just seems to be a little bit of a thing. They pulled away, looked real impressive. Georgia, the last time we saw them was that Kentucky game, right? And they barely won. They got something to prove. If you're going to give me a field goal with Bama at home, I think I'm going to take Alabama. And I'm not sure I don't like Jalen Milroe at home more than I like Carson Beck on the road against Bama. I think I'm going to go Alabama. You're going to give me those points.
Yeah, I don't blame you. I mean, this is a tough one because Georgia hasn't looked exceptional this year.
No.
Their offense has not looked near as explosive as I thought it would look. Meanwhile, Bama has gone on the road and just completely annihilated a decent opponent.
Maybe.
So.
They could be pretty bad.
But still a tough place to go on the road. I mean, if you get blowout a top 25
Like, I don't
on the
think
road.
Kentucky, who Georgia barely beat, is going to go throttle
No.
Wisconsin necessarily.
Right.
I'm trying not to do transitive, though, but I've watched both these teams, and I don't love – it's these teams, and this is a matchup that will – if the teams are having a hard time scoring, unless they're playing against bad defense, like I would be way more concerned with A&M. Look at Nick Savage. Look like he's just weeping over there.
Just giving up.
Yeah, please.
A lot of commentary on the transitioning. That's why.
I think like A&M versus LSU, I don't worry about as much because I've watched their defense. So I'm like, I'm concerned with A&M scoring against a higher scoring team until you watch LSU's defense. Bama doesn't have that kind of defense. So I think Georgia's still going to have a tough time scoring a lot of points. I go Alabama now.
I'm going to go.
You already did.
What did I? No, I didn't.
Yes, you did.
Who did I pick?
You picked Bama.
No, I didn't. I was picking
I don't think you
Georgia.
did. I think you were.
Okay.
I'm picking Georgia to go in there and win.
All right.
Straight up.
You remember, Pulaski?
Remember what?
Never mind. Go ahead.
Okay.
Transitioner.
The transitioner is having a really hard time right now.
Yeah.
Just let him be a transitioner.
What a
I'm
great show
sorry.
that would be.
I shouldn't have
made him
passed
insecure
judgment.
about it.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Don't pass judgment on the guy who transitions.
Sorry.
Segment to segment.
Okay. Last but not least, we have the Southwest Classic, Arkansas versus number 24, Texas A&M. They're playing at AT&T Stadium, which it's the last time they will be playing there. They're playing at 2:30 p.m. on ESPN. Texas A&M is favored by 4.5 points.
I don't want to do this.
Do it. Just do it.
I am feeling pretty good about A&M winning this game. It has concerned me in the week leading up to the game. It actually concerns me more than Florida did leading up to. But 4.5 points ever in that series has seemed like a lot. When I'm more certain about, really where I've been more certain is how bad or mediocre Arkansas has been. This year, I think Arkansas, my concern is that they're a little better than that. Nothing special. Don't read this wrong. I don't think they're anything special. But I do think they're better than they have been the last couple of years. And so I would go Arkansas to cover, A&M to win. Texas A&M to win that game. Again, I think like a 24-21, 27-24 type of game. 27-23 if you want to be a little less stressed. 27-23. But man, it's tough to see this one. I mean, if A&M wins the game by more than that, I think literally it's like the Aggies are up 3 in the fourth quarter and they go on a 7-minute touchdown drive and punch one in with 4 minutes left to go up 10. Like, that's how I think they cover. I think this game stays very close throughout, like they all do.
This is a
But
tough one.
I do think A&M wins this football game. And if you ask me for percent confidence, I'm at like 60, 65, 60%. I saw the ESPN things, 56%. I'll say 65.
I think I'm going to go A&M to cover. And the reason is because is in this entire series, it's been close. The games have always come down, into the fourth quarter. Not always, but
Usually. Almost all.
But they always feel like they're like A&M's always winning by 1 or 3 points. But if you go back and look at the scores, it's not really that way. Like only a couple times have we been under that 4.5 on the win. So that being said, I think it will be a close game, but I think we somehow end up winning by a touchdown.
So you think it's more like my second scenario?
Yes.
Right? Yeah.
Where we go like punch one in to win by 7
I could definitely see
or
that.
something.
I mean, I just think we're going to be sitting there going in the fourth quarter like, here we go again. And I think the Aggies will make plays to win. And look, maybe that what they did this week against Bowling Green will pay dividends this weekend because you did have to play with poise, play under be composed. I like the lesson they learned from them, and I like the lesson they learned the week before, which is they went away from home and they showed up really ready to play. I think they show up with the right attitude and mindset Saturday.
I think
Mike Elko is going to have them kind of wired up for this one.
We are drinking the Kool-Aid today, boys.
Let's go. Here's this Kool-Aid. I think they win by more than a touchdown.
Okay.
That's what I think.
Predicting a blowout.
Hey, you know
I don't know.
what?
I don't know if you want to call it a blowout. Yeah, I mean, if you think a 7-10, yes.
If they win,
7-10.
this weekend, I think they beat Missouri at home the following weekend. Mizzou's off week, be damned.
Oh, it's gonna be a great bye week in that situation.
Well, that would be that. We're getting 2 steps ahead of ourselves, but that would be incredible. But it's
Be a fun
doable.
atmosphere.
It's attainable as we sit here right now, and that's my point of everything I've said. Like A&M is not, they're not thought of to be much better right now today than the Arkansas team. Look, they're number 24 in the poll. If Arkansas wins, Arkansas will be 23, 24, 25 at 4-1 in next week's poll.
Yep.
That's how close they are.
agree.
And then people
We're very
think
close.
Missouri's better than A&M. I've watched Mizzou. I think A&M can absolutely win that game at home, especially if you come in on a 4-game winning streak and get these people fired up about that game. So I like this game to be potential. If you're going to turn this season around and kind of come out of nowhere where people go, oh, wait, hold on, this is the week to do it.
Yep. All right. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you,
Appreciate
David.
it. See everybody at AT&T Stadium. Thank you, McKinley. We'll see you post-game wrap Saturday.